Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Mwachuku, and these are the top stories. Appeal Court orders reinstatement of Julius Abure as Labour Party's national chairman. Lukman wants Tinubu APC leaders to avoid path of self-destruction. Miyetti Allah leader Bodejo drags federal government to court over continued detention. Peter Obi laments Nigeria's deplorable economy. Details now. The world news begins with the Abuja division of the Court of Appeal upholding Julius Abure's position as the national chairman of the Labour Party. The appellate court reversed the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory's ruling on Wednesday, lifting the ban on Abure and two others from presenting themselves as national party officials. Elsewhere, the former national vice chairman, northwest of the All Progressives Congress, Salihu Lukman, has cautioned party leaders and President Bola Tinubu against the dangers of persisting with a closed government, warning it could lead to self-destruction. In a statement today titled Burden of Leadership, Open Letter to APC Leaders, Lukman declared that regaining respect, the basis on which they became leaders and not bosses, necessitates a willingness from all APC leaders to make necessary sacrifices. He emphasized that both APC members and Nigerians must endeavor to steer Tinubu's administration towards becoming more inclusive and reflective of the progressive values of the APC. Lukman said, and quote, "Our leaders who led the merger negotiation to produce APC in 2013 owe it to Nigerians to call President Asiwaju Tinubu to order and get him to recover whatever is left of his democratic and progressive credentials." Lukman stated further that both as APC and Nigerians, they have a responsibility to make all the needed sacrifices to win President Asiwaju Tinubu's administration back and put it on the path of emerging as an inclusive government managed by an envisioned Progressive Party, APC. In another development, the Federal High Court in Abuja has set March 13 as the date of hearing the motion filed by Bello Bodejo, the detained president of Miyetti Allah seeking his unconditional release from the custody of the Defense Intelligence Agency. Bodejo was apprehended on January 23 at Miyetti Allah's office in Karu local government area of Nasarawa State in connection with the unveiling of a vigilante group. You will recall that on February 5, the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, submitted an ex parte motion requesting to detain Bodejo. Following this, Justice Ijeoma Egwuatu granted an order for Bodejo to be remanded for 15 days in custody of the Defense Intelligence Agency. During the proceedings on February 22, the judge granted the federal government 7 days to file charges against Bodejo. However, during the recent court session, Bodejo was absent. The counsel to the AGF, Y. Imana, informed the court that the agency has not yet forwarded Bodejo's file to their office due to ongoing complications encountered by the investigating agencies. Imana stated that the matter is slated for arraignment. Unfortunately, up till now, due to some problems the investigating agencies are encountering, they have not been able to send the file to us. In response, Muhammad Sharif, Bodejo's counsel, highlighted efforts made to secure his client's release pending arraignment. He lamented that his client has stayed in detention for 43 days without any filed charges. Despite this, Justice Egwuatu expressed dissatisfaction with the unpreparedness of the prosecution and assured Bodejo of a fair hearing. Consequently, the court adjourned the matter until March 13. And still on the world news at 6, we actually have this development where presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, has actually lamented that Nigeria has retrogressed and is in a deplorable state under President Tinubu's watch. He also said, in quote, "Considering how the nation sadly retrogressed and became in the last few months, putting us in a far deplorable situation economically economically and otherwise than we were already. Mr. Obi made the assertion in a series of tweets on Tuesday where he lamented the insecure and economic hardship the country was currently experiencing. The former Anambra State's governor urged Nigerians to unite above tribe, religion and political party affiliation to rescue the country from the shackles of leadership, failure and bad governance. Mr. Obi's criticism comes as Nigerians lament economic hardship as inflation worsens foodstuff prices. Mr. Tinubu also resumed office last year May, where he announced the immediate fuel subsidy removal and later ending dual exchange rates. Now the dual policies have seen petrol prices jump from 145 naira to 630 naira or 700 naira in some other cases or locations, shooting food prices up as the naira continues its free fall against the dollar, trading above 1,600 naira. Now, to talk about this and more on the world news at 6, I have one who is quite expressive, and that is Barrister Darlington. He's a political, social, and national affairs commentator. And in the news analysis segment, we try, as possible, to break down this issue to a better comprehension, so we have a better direction as to where these stories, what they are, and how it affects the Nigerian polity. Barrister Darlington, good evening and welcome to the world news at 6.
Good evening, sir. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate you actually, picking up your phone. I know I called you last minute. Barrister Darlington, a former presidential candidate, Professor Kingsley Moghalu, actually gave a detailed explanation of the current economic hardship and its effects, which will last for a minimum of 3 to 5 years. Now, the political economist blamed unprecedented corruption and incompetent policy response as the primary factors behind Nigeria's distressed economy. He also made a keynote speech at the Leadership Newspaper Group 2024 Conference and Awards, and it was quite a lengthy one. In fact, Barrister Darlington, Mr. Kingsley Moghalu did not only state Nigeria's problems realistically, he did not also hinge it on this particular administration. He referred to the fact that it has become an endemic problem from time immemorial. Kingsley Moghalu talked about the fact that beyond administrations or heads of administrations employing technocrats, it was also important for these technocrats to know what their profile was and they're able to dispense their duties. He also made reference to the unfortunate fact that most political leaders, especially presidents in this part of the world, were more politically inclined in nominating rather than the expertise these individuals could implement in the various sectors they occupy, and which has led to the deplorable state of the Nigerian economy. Kingsley Moghalu also referred to the fuel subsidy removal, where there was no alternative or countermeasures to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal, and also made mention of the unity of the naira and floating of the naira, making a free fall market, which, according to Kingsley Moghalu, betrays the fact that obviously this administration did not understand the Nigerian economic complexities. What's your take on what Kingsley Moghalu detailed, and how exact can you express yourself on that?
Yes, thank you, Esther. People like Kingsley Moghalu should have been begged to join this administration.
Okay.
If Tinubu actually wants to succeed, these are the type of personnel he needed, because we all know his antecedent when he was deputy governor in CBN, and the track record he has as a technocrat. I don't see anybody in this administration who can match the capacity and capability of Kingsley Moghalu when it comes to economic issues. He is a thoroughbred technocrat. He knows the figures. He knows what to do. That one is not in doubt. Somebody like that should have been working with Tinubu, even if not as a regular basis. Should have been consulted to help this administration. But I know APC for who they are. Instead of looking for such people, if actually they want to succeed, they want to go and take somebody like Nyesom Wike from Rivers State, who is neither here nor there. These are what we are talking about. Round peg in a square hole.
Mr. Darlington, let me contextualize some certain things so we're not speaking on a general form. The president recently put together an economic advisory team, which a couple of economic analysts said was a good one because he needed to be advised on how to steer the Nigerian economy in the right direction, because it seems that the economy seems to be plunging. And obviously, some of the political, or rather some of the appointment made by the president were more politically inclined rather than in terms of capacity management to handle some of the profiles or portfolios that they were given. Kingsley Moghalu he has actually talked about the fact that the ruinous trend of the Nigerian economy started way back, almost goes back 10 years. And he said he felt that this administration would have actually done better because the president had once been the governor of Lagos State, being a very complex state as it is. He also made reference to the fact that the short-term response to the current economic quagmire is not about doing a palliative. He talked about a systematic social welfare implemented to create the Nigerian economy. In other words, the palliative that the president actually substituted for in cushioning the effect of the hunger crisis or quelling the protests going on in several locations across the state was not the right motion. He made reference to the fact that most of the president's nominations were more political, and that is why most of them do not have an idea on how to implement policies that will drive the economy forward. So within this context, would you agree with Kingsley Moghalu's submission? And will the president be able to implement or instill the advice and recommendations given at that particular speech by Kingsley Moghalu?
That's what I'm telling you. I said Kingsley Moghalu, whenever he speaks, somebody should listen to him because he knows what he's saying. We have even said it, that this ad hoc arrangement cannot solve our problem. It's deeper than this. But the Tinubu will not listen. He will always want a short-term arrangement where they will clap for him. After 2 days, the clapping will stop. Then the problem will come back again. He's not solving problem. He just wants somebody to praise him. That is why we are saying that he should have been talking to people like Kingsley Moghalu.
Okay.
You know, yes. You saw what Governor Oti did in Abia State. What he assembled, and look at the results. Today now, Governor Oti is now the star boy in the whole of Nigeria because of what he's doing. Maybe with the Borno State Governor Zulum. Why is it that these two governors are standing out? Why? Other governors, what are they doing? Nobody even the Lagos State is not in the picture. So when you see a leader who wants to deliver the goods, you don't need anybody to tell you. Their performance will show by the type of team they are working with. Look at the team of Governor Oti of Abia State Assembly. Look at the results. Then Tinubu went to go and call vulture capitalists. Dangote and these other people who made money.
And they had a war.
These people, they made money from us. They made money from us.
So are you saying his advisory team, are you saying the president's current advisory team would not advise the president in the proper economic trajectory? That they'll be more selfish in their advice?
They have businesses they want to grow. They are looking, in fact, what's his name? Dangote said he wants to become the richest man in the world some time ago. Such a man, whatever advice he will give you is something that will favor him. Didn't Tinubu tell him to reduce his cement to 8,000? Is it 8,000 now? Up to today, Esther, go to the market. Cement is either 12 to 13,000 naira.
Not just cement.
Go and check.
Food items. I said not just cement, even food items. It's a sporadic increment to household items that we consume daily.
Exactly. So when you see such a person advising you, will he advise you in a way that his business will fall? Is it possible? Those people are not advisors because they make money. So every billionaire is a good advisor. Is that what you're telling me? We all know how that got started, how we made him a billionaire. At a point, he was the sole importer of all essential commodities in this country. And that was where he made his money. It was only when Obasanjo came on board that he told him to stop.
All right, Mr. Darlington, because of time, I want us to look at something quite important. It remained uncertain, right, whether President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would have pursued the 2023 presidential election had he been aware of the financial mismanagement during Muhammadu Buhari's 8-year rule. Speculation persists on whether President Tinubu would have taken different actions devoid of courage had he known the extent of embezzlement by a few individuals in the Buhari administration, especially when announcing the removal of fuel subsidy on May 29, 2023. Now, recent revelations indicate that billions of dollars were siphoned by some players in Buhari's government. And of course, this was disclosed by a presidency source. The investigation was led by Special Investigator Ijeoma Egwuatu, who is facing challenges due to interference from powerful figures within the current administration. The genesis of the issue began with reports of influential figures amassing wealth at the expense of Nigeria's treasury during Buhari's tenure. Subsequent investigations unveiled staggering amounts of money traced to specific individuals in various financial malfeasance, especially from over-invoicing to fund diversion. Now, President Tinubu empowered Egwuatu to scrutinize every aspect of fund misappropriation, leading to the discovery of unauthorized transfers and cash withdrawals, the misuse of ways and means, resulting in over 30 trillion naira during Buhari's administration, which further exacerbated the financial crisis. Properties linked to the malfeasances have been identified, and the ongoing investigation faces hurdles, which includes interference and potential backlash from influential figures associated with the previous administration. Now, there are calls that former President Muhammadu Buhari should be called in for questioning, as he cannot avoid the fact that he was oblivious of most of this embezzlement and malfeasances occurring within his administration. There are also calls that if the president claims that the previous administration was the one that put him into this indebtedness, then he should strategically go and face the people who did this. Otherwise, we will continue to face this downward trend. Do you think the president has the courage to face these influential individuals known through these investigations that were involved in the current economic quagmire? Would he call former President Muhammadu Buhari to question and his close associates within his tenure?
I don't think so.
Why are you certain about that?
That means in West, Tinubu cannot, because we who go deputy must go joking. Every day we'll be doing it to draw the attention of the whole world. So Tinubu, with all the revelations and all the investigation, what has happened? The investigation is gathering dust somewhere in his office. He won't touch it. He will not touch it. So what are you saying? He don't waste our time to go and we won't do it. Just like Buhari. The more corrupt you are, the better for you in this administration. After all, the former chairman of Shomolo said that no matter what you have done, if you come to APC, your sins are forgiven. That is why they are selecting only the worst, the very worst, to come into their administration. Look at somebody like Wike from Rivers State. Look at, such a man, such a character. And you are telling me you meant well for Nigeria. Tinubu is just there to answer president. He didn't come here to repair any economy. He can't do it. Because he surrounded himself with corrupt people. Very, very corrupt people.
Barrister Darlington, negotiations with some looters are reportedly yielding positive results. But the involvement of prominent leaders from the ruling party in the previous administration is complicating issues. And the president is in a dilemma because it extends to the risk of exposing uncomfortable quarters and the fear of a relooting scenario similar to the Abacha loot. As investigations continue, the public is awaiting Tinubu's approach in recovering stolen funds, addressing the economic challenges inherited from the previous administration, and the complexity of the situation underscores the intricate interplay between politics, financial malfeasance, and the daunting task of steering the nation towards economic recovery. And like I said, Kingsley Moghalu actually gave a detailed explanation as to how the economy could be led to a path of recovery. But there are fears that there are some elements, some persons who may stall this process, and that the president may be in a state of a little bit possibly afraid to take some drastic measures on these individuals, possibly because they influenced his emergence to becoming the president. Do you think that the president will be courageous enough to put these persons aside and do the needful, possibly reenacting the trust of the public on this administration headed by him?
My dear, when selfish interest is placed above national interest, you can be sure of the results. Tinubu just want to answer Nigerian president. His actions so far does not show that he wants to succeed, and that is a fact. He is the one that appointed people. He knows their track record. Somebody like Minister of State and National Budget and Budget and Economic Planning, Bagudu, Abi?
Yes, Bagudu, state budget.
This was a man who was Abacha's henchman. This alert you are receiving from Abacha, it was this man that did all the dirty job. Tinubu is aware. Up to tomorrow, he is aware. Yes, he appointed such a man to come into his administration. So, how do you think that a snake will not continue to be long? That's why I was telling you the other day that it is APC that is sabotaging APC. They know themselves, they know that these are their party members. And you know the kind of Tinubu's person. A lot of people who are very corrupt to be around him. So that
Barrister you're generalizing. Yes. The president says he's fighting corruption. We've seen some selected cases on board, being processed. Although Nigerians feel these cases are too selective and there is a sense of bias in the cases of corruption being looked into by this administration. But when you say the president likes to surround himself with corrupt persons, that's so generic. Don't you think so?
No. Did I not give you examples? Under his watch, you can see what is happening. And you are not, these are the ones we discovered though. There are ones now, because since after that they do and Ojo and maybe few other people, they are being very careful now to cover their back. They are being very careful. The corrupt people are still there doing they are back in business. That is why things are not working. That is why things are not working. If they are not as corrupt as I think, why is it that we are discovering this type of behavior from all of them? They will tell you one thing today. When you wake up, you discover another thing. Is that a government that wants to succeed? By now, I expected Tinubu to be telling us how much we are making every month. I'm telling you, he should be telling us how much we are making every month and how much we are spending. That is what we call transparency. Government did it in this country. Under Buhari and the Diabo, they were doing it. But yeah, we don't know anything. With all the money they are making, yes, things are not getting better. And yet, every day you come and tell us that Nigeria economy is getting better. Getting better where? How? What is the exchange rate? Nigeria will not be asking that question. How much are we buying fuel now? All the things they told us that will make the economy to look up, where are they? Port Harcourt refinery, with all the promises, is it working up to now? Even Dangote, with all the promises, are we getting anything from Dangote refinery? My dear, when you have a deceitful human being on board, this is what you get. Up till now, nobody knows where the direction of Tinubu's administration. Economic, nobody can tell. You wake up, you don't see one thing that is very useless. You don't know the direction. They told this administration that 70% of corruption is done through the bank, financial corruption. And that's why they said everybody should not go to the bank and start linking their NIM again to their account. Enter, go to the bank, go and see the problem they have created. An account that has been functional. Do you need anybody to go and do it again? You tell me that people don't know what they are doing. The account is already there. If you want to catch anybody, monitor the account now. You need to tell me to go and start to clean up, to go and link my NIN again. What is the purpose?
Barrister Darlington,
all the details are there.
Barrister Darlington, thank you so much.
They don't do things. That will tell you that they don't know what they are doing.
Barrister
I'm telling you, before the week will run last month, they will bring out another policy. Selfish interest. They have arrested finance. They said they have to transfer money out of Nigeria. But the one they brought into Nigeria, they did not tell us. They did not tell us. This is just a payment app, a payment app.
Barrister Darlington, thank you.
They close down if you read the change the other time.
Barrister Darlington, thank you. We've run out of time. Thank you so much for your perception. These are the opinions, perception, and views of Barrister Darlington to the issues we're discussing on the news analysis segment. Barrister Darlington, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the passion as well.
Dear.
All right.
Thank you.
To wrap up here again at the top stories, Appeal Court orders reinstatement of Julius Abure as Labour Party's national chairman. Lukman wants Tinubu APC leaders to avoid path of self-destruction. Miyetti Allah Bodejo drags federal government to court over continued detention. And Peter Obi laments Nigeria's deplorable economy. That's a wrap on the world news at 6. My name is Esther Mwachuku. Good evening and thank you for listening.